Hello, I'm Debbie with Craftwell with a good tip for you that have purchased your eBrush through HSN or from any other dealer for that matter, but since they're brand new out, you notice that I have a little alcohol wipe, and what I do is when I get any marker on it, I just kind of wipe it off with that and I get my marker off of it. Because sometimes when I'm holding stencils, I do get a little marker on it. What I want to show you today is to get some great satisfaction out of your product is to have an idea of how the collars go on, because sometimes that can be something that inhibits us a little bit. So what you do is you line up the triangle with the seam on the top of the brush, press in, and then just give it a nice turn, and then your adapter is on. The next thing that you'll want to do is take one of your these come in your packet. These are the Spectrum Noir markers, and I'm going to take the chisel end and place it in my eBrush. And what I do is I try and get it as straight as I can out of the pack, and then if I do have trouble, and that's okay, we just use some, actually I have some hemostats laying around here that I use. Very nice one. But you can take your hemostats and actually align the nib just a little bit so it's straight with the nozzle. And then I still have to move it a little bit, perhaps, adjustment, but I always go to my scrap paper and give it a little shot, and you'll see, oh, there's not much there. Honestly, it's just that my nib is not in the right airflow, and what I'll have to do is just hold the brush open for a minute and get it to where I have that airflow, and then I'm off and running again. So it's as easy as just finding that beautiful little sweet spot and then progressing onward. I'm going to move my eBrush unit out of the way and just show you some interesting things. Those wonderful die cutting machines that we have, like the eBosser, you can do some great die cuts, and then you can use this for a background. Just some gentle motions. You'll notice that I hold my eBrush. It's very ergonomic. Let me turn it off and show you. As you look from the side, you're going to see that it's got this gentle curve here. That's to hold in the web of your hand, and you can slide your hand back or forth to adjust your grip on the trigger. So if you feel that you're jammed up by pulling your hand way up here, slide it back on the curve. Very ergonomic. Also, when you're eBrushing, I know that people have a tendency to do their wrist. The whole thing is to move your arm like you're moving a wand. Or better yet, if you were the Queen of England, you would have that little wave. Just think of yourself waving like the princess does, or the queen, or anybody else of royal lineage. And you notice a little spray goes a long way. So we have some great backgrounds going on there. Now you can go over it. I like to go back and forth. I don't like to saturate it the first time through, but just back and forth, nice and easy. And then we have some great dark work. This brush is terrific with stencils as well. Now, normally what I would do is I would have some adhesive that I would put down. Let's change colors. Some adhesive to hold my stencil down. Unfortunately, I don't have any here with me. So let's see. Again, I'm going to check to make sure that I'm not going to transfer any color to my nib. I push it in, put it on my test paper. I think we have it already. But just in case, I'm going to pull it back a little bit. Once you get used to it, you'll find that you can find that spot right away. But to be honest with you, I decided that since I was showing you how to set it up, that I would start with new markers, and that would give us both a hand up with it, and that way we'd start in the same playing field in case I might have to adjust this one, which is going to be fun. There we go. So remember, hold where your hand is comfortable. Whoop. I am going to have to move the nib some, so let's turn it off. See, that's always a good thing to do, because when you're showing people how to use it, you want those things to happen. What I'm doing is I'm wiping these off because I did have some other colors on it. And all I'm going to do is just take my hemostats, or if you have tweezers, and just make it so that it aligns with that ridge there. I'm not pulling it out, I'm just twisting it a little bit. Turn it back on. Now that it's aligned, oh, there we go. You can actually hear when it hits the marker. There you go. And so just nice and gentle. Let's try our third spectrum Noir. We did green, we're going into blue. I also use a blender. Let's see if I can. Oh, someone asked me, what about these fine point tips? Let's see what actually happens when we insert one and use that. I'd want to clear the nozzle. See? Let's see if we can get some. What I love about using these is you can do them. If you do real quick with the airflow like this, you can get some great effects with it. It makes a very fine line. And if I put my airspeed up, you notice that it does do a little bit more detail. So you can use the fine side. They recommend the chisel, but you can use the fine side. And then back to the chisel again. And test it to get it where you want it. You can hear that air. See, that's the thing. When you get them new out of the box, sometimes you have to move them a little bit. And you'll hear when the air hits, it makes a different sound. There you go. And so, let me see. Well, let's go back to using this one. I want to show you. You can go ahead with the stencil. And it's back and forth easily. I'm going to show you something that I did that was a lot of fun. I had a dream about it. It sounds weird. Dreaming eBrushes. I'm going to make this a little bit darker. But notice that I'm going at a rate that's all about the same speed. Okay, so if you don't, then you have a lot of stripes. We're going to do something fun. I'm going to take this off. And I'm going to put on a colorless blender and see what kind of effects I have with it. So my colorless blender goes on. And to see that it's working, funny as it sounds, I'm going to do it with my hand and see a little dampness because I can't really see it on the paper. I'm going to take my doily. Check this out. Put on here and let's see what we can achieve with this. I am going to concentrate it so that it does remove some of the color. I did it with some with a found piece, a piece of metal, and laid over and had some really pretty spackling work. It just makes, I don't know if you can see, but it actually gives it just this little effect where it's kind of got some jewels in it. It looks like jelly beans that we create with watercolor. And you can actually use it to move some of your paint around. So the colorless blenders really work well with it too. Now when you're using a colorless blender, notice if you get any kind of ink on it, all you have to do is just wipe it until it's gone so it doesn't get in there and mess up your colorless blender. It doesn't take long. I usually just scrub it on a sheet of paper for a minute or two and it's gone. This is a alcohol wipe. So, And once I have it off, I am going to put it back in its little holder. And that's the fun that we can have with our beautiful eBrush. The eBrush is not just for crafters. Hobbyists use it. I know that we use it with our model railroading. I love it to do some fine artwork, and we're going to be doing some projects. And I also would love you to share some of the projects that you have. So join me again for another eBrush special. Thank you for coming. Goodbye.